the champ of the mic owns the night. With a mind so slick and a suit so clean, he's running this ring like a wrestling machine. From gold-plated deals to jaw-dropping schemes, he's the mastermind of your wildest dreams. Stand up, take note, bow down if you can. It's the Brilliant Show with the Brilliant One. He's the man.
Welcome in, Ben. What's going on? Welcome to the Brilliant Show.
What's going on, big brother?
Not much, man. We're fixing to kick off something new. What's going on, Stephen Dixon? What's going on, brother? We're going to kick off something new here tonight. Before we
Yes, we are. And from my knowledge, Brandon, I think we might be the first two to do this.
I believe so. And it's probably going to be really very interesting. And we're going to start a trend right here on the Brilliant Show. Before we get started, I want to give a big shout out to Mark Out Moments, Talking Wrestling with Pondwater Dave. Go check them out on YouTube. Mark Out Moments is going to be streaming BIW's event live in July. You're going to want to check it out. It's going to be great. Also, remember to go check us out on all podcast platforms. That's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, and Audible. Give us that 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And also, don't forget the merch. You got to go check out brainbustertees.com. Get you a t-shirt, get you a hat. You're going to want to be supporting that. And because we're going to bring you great content right here each and every week on The Brilliant Show. And tonight, new concept. We're doing a match review. We got a match lined up. But before we get to that, Ben, explain how this all came about, how you came up with this idea to do this, and how it's going to garner something.
Well, I do happen to have about 25 years experience in the business. Now, to most people, they would say, oh, well, you know, whatever, these old indie guy vets today. I get it. But that knowledge comes from a lot of good places, as we've talked before about. I mean, I've worked for, you know, promotions all over the country. And I've ran my own promotion, as you well have done so yourself. So you understand where that comes from, and helped people run their promotions for quite some time now. So I've seen a lot of matches. I've put a lot of matches together. I've been giving a lot of feedback on things, and I've given a lot of feedback on things. As you and I both know, this industry is based off of the fans' response. There's a lot of guys that are working the boys in the back instead of working the people in front of them, which they should be. And that's the difference, because that's what makes or breaks you, brother. You know, you are only as over as the people that are cheering for you. And if they're not doing anything, they don't care. So basically, this concept is to give guys feedback and try to help them, try to help people understand, like, what you're doing out there means something. It's not always about the moves. Yes, they're pretty, they're flashy, and in the right circumstances, they can be phenomenal. But at the end of the day, the people want to connect with the performer. And I want to try to help some of these guys understand and see that as we watch the matches and see where the crowds reacted and listen. And, you know, when I went out there and I wrestled, I listened. I listened to hear the reaction. I saw my marks. I saw who's really getting into it, who's popping on things, who's, you know, that's the guy I'm going to target. That's the guy I'm going to talk shit to, you know, because they're animated and they're going to get the rest of those people at the same level they're at. So we're going to watch these matches, and we're going to give the best critique we can. And it's not coming from a bad place, even if it does sound a little harsh. But, you know, with the guys back at Elevate and Wildcat and, you know, the other promotion, you know, basically, you know, they pulled off some great storylines that connected with the people. And I'd like to think I was a little bit of a help with that.
Oh, most definitely. And we're going to check that. Well, our first one is, you're familiar with him, is Sammy Wright, who is...
Yes, sir.
He's coming around. He's a young kid that's got a lot of potential. This is going to be from Guardians Legacy. I've not been able to check out one of their events. They're based in Panama City, Florida. But it was originally... Florida
has a very hot wrestling scene, so...
Oh, yeah. And hopefully, if you're Guardians of Legacy and you're watching this, y'all hit that like button, check it out. We're about to feature this was originally a singles match between Logan Stevens and Sammy Riot, but Luka Daniels got through into it as a triple threat match. Now, like you said, you've run your own company. I've run mine. We both been around independent wrestling. You've been around way longer than I have, but I've been around a minute. And there's one thing that we know about independent wrestling. A triple threat is one of the hardest matches on the card to do. Kind of explain to the listeners that the deal with the triple threat and how it's one of the most difficult matches to pull off on the independent scene.
There's two sides to that coin. And the one side is the match is chaos, and that's what it's supposed to be. It's the change of pace in the show. If every match is a triple match on a show, which I've seen shows that do that, it doesn't have the ambience. But if that's one of the, the gimmick matches on the card, throw something a little different at the fans, it can be fascinating for everybody involved. There's a lot that goes into it. Timing is one of the most important things in a match like that. Timing, knowing your space in the ring, where you are, what you're supposed to be doing, what to do when something's not going on, when it's not your turn, how to keep the people interested in what you're doing when you're not doing anything. A lot of different moving parts to it. There's other times where it can be an absolute clusterfuck. And we see that a lot. And, it takes the performers to be confident with what they're doing, not trying to get their shit in, and be willing to work together to really put on a solid triple threat match. And we've seen some great ones on the independent scene throughout the Gulf Coast and the Midwest, have we not?
Yes, we have. Hey, Ben, can you check your mic, man? Because it's kicking in and out on that.
Is that a little better?
All right, go ahead now.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's a little bit better. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, I mean, the triple threat is one of the hardest things to pull off on the independent scene, like you said, and it can be an exciting match. You just got to be willing to work together. I think Ben froze up there first. Are you there? Okay. All right.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I'm there.
All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into this match here in just a second. Yeah, I don't know what it was, man.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that sounds good. All right, there we go. All right, so we're going to pull it up here on the stage. This is Guardians of Legacy. It's the last event. This was triple threat match. Luka Daniels versus Sammy Riot versus Logan Stevens. So let's check it out. Let's hit play.
Well, I already like the apron. Looks like they got a solid house. Yeah. There we go. Sammy getting the people involved.
And it looks like they're in a gym. That's a nice, spacious place, too.
Looks like a very nice venue, actually.
Yeah, he's getting the crowd pumped up for sure. Let me get that fixed. I think
so the guys right off the bat.
Here we go. There we go.
There we go. See, look at that right off the bat.
It's a good way to work it. And look, they're cheering Sammy. And if I'm not mistaken, this is Sammy's first trip to Guardians Legacy. I don't think he's ever been in this area.
And you've got the heels already basically establishing who they are right off the bat.
They're already trying to double team. This is a good start. There it goes.
That's what you want to hear out of an audience.
Yep.
Doing basically barely nothing in the ring, and they're chanting your name.
And like I said, he's not even been in that area before. So you are, I mean, if you're getting that reaction already, that's good work.
Nice. And these two guys are doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing right now. Giving them a big shine.
There's the dive to outside.
Nicely executed. Going to take care of the other guy on the other side now. Look at that. The only thing I would have done different right there is just hype them up before I hit that second one, just to have them on it.
Ooh.
But they're 100% behind Sammy Riot.
Yes, they are.
Didn't work that time. There we go. These two guys are doing a very good job putting the heat on. I like that they're not over there totally double teaming the crap out of them, making it look absolutely unbelievable. They're giving them space and time. Each guy's taking a turn. If you watch the old Brainbuster matches, Tully and Arn, that's kind of how they worked.
Exactly. That's what I was about to bring up was the Brainbusters, and people are going to say, a lot of people are going to say, Dan, who is the Brainbuster?
I mean, two members of the Four Horsemen, probably one of the best tag teams of our era growing up.
Yep, agreed.
And these guys are setting up beautifully for what's inevitable to come with two heels working together in a triple threat match.
Exactly, and they're working it so well, though. And I mean, from my point of view, I'm seeing them work it well.
And there it is. You know, a friendship in a triple threat match does not last very long.
No, because once one person sees that they got the opportunity to take advantage of it, that's a pretty good move.
Sammy getting back involved in the match. These guys are very athletic.
Yeah, they are, and they also got a unique look to them too. They look like wrestlers.
You know what I noticed? Everybody's going to the right spot. These guys are constantly moving in the right direction. Nobody's tripping over anybody. There's no chaos and bumping into each other. The match has got a good solid pace to it. That was nice.
Yeah. It's got a very good pace to it, and you see two guys in there that, I mean, Sammy's not been in the ring with these guys, and it looks pretty spot on right now. Good in Seguri there.
Lucas is getting his opportunity now to shine. Nice whipping. Now that was a very nice combo.
Yes, it was. Oh!
These guys are working very well together. I'm not sure if they've worked together before, but Logan and Lucas have chemistry.
Yeah, they do. They really do.
Lucas, I'm sorry.
Luca. It's Luca. Luca.
Luca, gotcha. My bad.
And Sammy, did you? That was a pretty move off the top. Landed on his feet that way. Landing shooting star.
No, it doesn't want to stay on top for too long because you want that sympathy from the crowd.
Exactly.
Sometimes guys do a little bit too much in a situation where now it's the pace has turned again.
Oh man, that was a smooth finish.
And that came out of nowhere. A nice 1-2-3. Taking advantage of the situation. Might have had his hands on the tights, not sure. But that was a good paced match. The flow was good. The chemistry was good for three guys who haven't worked together before, especially Sammy making his debut. He had the crowd in his favor. The heels established themselves as being heels, so the fans knew to cheer for Sammy, which gave him that extra boost, being, as you said, from out of town and then not seeing him before. That's always a great sign coming into a new place, too. And believe me, the promoter notices that. If you got a talent, man, guys would come in to elevate that I didn't really know sometimes, and you'd watch them work, and it'd be, holy shit, this dude should be on TV, And, it was... it's just nice to get that and see how they react with your audience, and they do the work, and they build to connect that relationship. I thought he did a good job with that. I thought the other guys really kept a good pace of the match. Again, people weren't falling over each other. People weren't, in a cluster. Everything moved right. Everybody was where they were supposed to be when they needed to be. I thought it was if that was a match in my card, I would have been happy with it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was Sammy Wright, by the way, said, thank you. I thought that was a well-paced match. Everything was in place. The fans were entertained. The fans were behind Sammy. That's the key factor. You're getting a reaction. When you got them in the palm of your hand, that's a key factor. They're into the match. They're into it. They want to get involved more. So that was, in my opinion, I thought it was a good match. I don't know where it was on the card, Sammy, but if that was the opener, yes, it was Paul Wright. It was fire. I don't know where
you said something. You said something key right there, and it was a thing about. Actually, I just forgot what you said.
Well, I was saying,
but
these spots on a show are the opener and the main event. So if this was the opener for the show, this really set the pace for that show. It was.
Yeah, it got the fans off to. I'm back on it. When you come into a new place like that and you've got the crowd behind you. And I don't know if guys think about this or not, because I think there are guys out there that hear a couple pops or a couple claps and think they're over as fuck. And stop doing the work, stop interacting with the audience. I think the key in a situation like that, in a match like that, is to keep them, because that's what you just said before. The fans want to be entertained. They want to be reactive. They want to be a part of the show.
Yes. And
so if they're giving you, dangling that carrot, they want you to keep going for it, And so when guys start to hear that boo or that cheer or that clap or that momentum, keep it. Keep working with them. Keep crawling towards them. If you're the baby face, keep building yourself up for them. Fire up like, you've got everybody's energy in the arena with you, behind you, like when you're going for that comeback. And if you're a heel, work those people to death. One of the things I loved most about SWA is that audience, because they hated me and they loved me. but they hated me because they loved me and they knew they hate me, and they played their part well. And it gave me something every match to go out there and focus on, the little kids with the loser signs and the things like that. When you've got that going, you're building a platform for yourself and a connection with an audience. Those people are buying tickets to the next show. SWA, and Brandon, you've been a promoter. Tell me how many shows are pre-selling 150, 200 tickets as the show's ending at the show you're at for the next show on the spot. Why? Because the people are invested.
Yep.
So if you can keep people invested, you're going to be an asset to any promotion, any promoter on this planet that's looking to book somebody.
Best kept secret on the Gulf Coast Samurai. Paul, I'm going to agree with you on that one, because I've been around Sammy, and I've seen Sammy wrestle since he was probably about 15 or 16 years old. And all the riots, in my opinion, have just come out and showed out. But Paul does take the time. He's trained each and every one of them, and he's taken the time with them and really teach them. It's not everybody's style of wrestling, but it's the right style of wrestling. And the new fans enjoy it. They love it. And Sammy Riot, to me, and even though I can't stand him, he's the second, or no, he's the third best Riot. Sammy is a great athlete, and he's got a lot of potential to do some good things. And he's been killing it in SWA. He's been killing it in Lost Art of Wrestling. He's been in there with people like Nightmare Jeremiah, and we know how Jeremiah is. He's a monster that's coming to take over. So, what's your thoughts on Sammy? Because I know you've been around him as well. And have you seen Leo Riot, and have you seen Paul Riot as well?
I think I met one of the other Riot brothers at one of the shows. They really just started coming around as I was kind of fading out with the move and all. I just remember him being a respectful kid, shaking my hand, introducing himself in the locker room. I thought his match was really good for the match that he had on the show. I thought he brought a good energy that would benefit the company, because it's all about evolution. And as some guys are moving on and getting older and whatever, it's good to have some new talent, fresh faces come in and keep that life and energy going with the audience. I think he did good out there. Triple threat's kind of hard to really see someone's ability to work. From what I've seen of him at SWA, he's got a pretty bright future ahead. I would not settle for the just small pop, and just really work the gimmick, really work yourself through those matches. Be the Shawn Michaels, be the 1, 2, 3 kid. Like if that's the style, and have that heart and that energy for the people, so the people feel it. And that spin kick and those moves and those high flying moments mean much more when they're with it and they're behind you. And I think once he hones that confidence in, and he's more confident with himself and what he's doing out there, and he starts connecting with that audience, I think it's going to be a whole new ballgame for him.
I definitely agree. I'll say this too with the Riots. Leo just got started. He's only been in a year. He's tearing it up. I watched Sammy's promo the other night that he cut on Leo, because him and Leo Riot are having a match this Saturday night in Waynesboro, Mississippi for SWA Promotions. One of the tops. I mean, we've both been there. We've both worked shows. We've been on the same shows. It's hard to outdraw SWA. It's there. But he cut a promo on Leo, and not knocking Sammy's promo skills whatsoever. But I'd always told him, you got to speak up a little bit. You got to get a little bit louder. And he told the story of Leo and him. And he didn't say he's going to beat Leo just to beat Leo. he's going for redemption. He's not going for revenge. He's going for redemption. He's going to bring Leo back to the good side. And watching the promo told me a story. And if I could pull this promo up, and I may can here in a minute, we'll play it. But Leo's got a bright.
Sure, please.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Talk about promo skills for just a minute. Like, give some. What I mean is give some advice on promos. Like, because I'm looking this up. I want to get your opinion on this because, we get it. When you're posting a promo on Facebook, am I right or wrong on this? Your promo should be between 30 seconds and a minute and a half. If you go past a minute and a half, you're probably going to lose the viewer. Am I right or wrong on that?
Depending on the situation, the company, and the fans' investment, yes. Anything that's kind of hot moving, younger generation, it's definitely going to be 30 seconds to a minute. That's all people's attention span accounts for. And it doesn't seem like a lot of time, but it's a perfect amount of time to get across the message. And if it's authentic and it's coming from a good place, I mean, your promo is everything. Your promo is a commercial sale for yourself. That's exactly what your promo is. You are selling you as a product to people in a very visual AI generated economy today. The world is, I mean, everything's video. Everybody's watching TikTok. Everybody's on Instagram. Everybody's on X. Your social media and keeping up with that. Guys should just be cutting promos to cut promos. I used to stand in front of the mirror and cut promos. I used to drive in my car and cut promos. I'd be flipping a burger on the grill and cutting a promo about the burger on the grill. I mean, it's one of the most important things if you ever want a bigger future in professional wrestling. There's guys that are on the big shows that aren't even really wrestling week to week, but are keeping themselves invested with the audience through their promo work and a lot of their own private. Karrion Kross, perfect example. Not getting a huge push on television, but he's become more popular in recent months due to all of his Instagram posts and X posts and the little videos and things that he's shooting in character, out of character. I don't think there's probably ever been more of an interest in him. One of the most important things you can do is really put your energy into your promo. Don't bury the guy that you're working, because if you beat him, then who did you beat? You beat someone you said was shit and couldn't wrestle. That doesn't make you seem like you're that important. You don't have to put them over huge either, but get your message across. Who are you? What's going to happen? What does this mean to you? And how is this going to, change the landscape of the promotion that you're working for? And connect, have your slogan, have your thing, have your energy, whether it's a spin around and a smile like Joe Hendry, whatever your gimmick is, whatever works for you. If the fans like it and they pick up on it and they support you, that's why there's the Yeet. That's why, Fandango became a sensation overnight. It's, what the fans connect with. So find your niche that's going to connect with that audience that you're trying to reach.
I agree. All right, I got the promo pulled up. Ready to check it out?
Yes, sir.
All right, and I love to talk shit. We all know that, and so promos is one of my favorite things to try to do. But I've always talked to Sammy. Me and Sammy, I've joked with him, but Sammy's took it. He knows. Let's see what Steven Dixon has to say here. Who would you say are some of the best cutting promos? We'll get to that in a minute, Steven Dixon. We're gonna listen to this. We're gonna watch this promo. So, 1:53 seconds. Let's go.
We were family. We were family. Make sure you hear that clearly. But ever since you put that mask on, and it's took anything good inside you and it's twisted it up and it's formed it into this bitter and cruel person. See, that's not who I grew up with. That's not who I helped train just a few months back. No, that mask didn't make you unstoppable. That mask just took the good inside of you and it hid it deep, deep down in your heart. And it brought all your anger and your hate. It brought it all to the surface. The same thing it did to Paul Riot multiple years ago. See, but the thing is, even after you turn your back on us, we're still standing. June the 14th at SWA, I'm not coming to fight you for revenge, no. I'm coming to fight for redemption. I'm coming to pull that good back to the surface. I'm coming to pull the Leo Riot that we trained, the Leo Riot that we grew up with. My plan, June 14th at SWA, is to bring that Leo Riot back to life. It's time to put this evil, cruel mask. It's time to put all this persona to bed. It's time to get it out of the Riot legacy. It's time to redeem the Riot legacy of what it can be. Paul Riot, Sammy Riot, and Leo Riot all on the same side. It's time to put the whole independent wrestling scene on notice. And we can't do that with that mask on you. June the 14th, it's coming off.
So what'd you think?
I thought the pacing was good. I thought the message was good. The delivery could have been a little better. And what I mean by that is, so this is like extremely emotional, personal. This is family. This is something big. And you mentioned a lot about the training and the other stuff. To me, like if I had access to a gym or the wrestling ring or the locker room, something where you're sitting there, your hair down, and you just, you're kind of looking up at the points and the moments that matter, and it's back down in that grunge, remembering that the emotion of what you've been going through with your brother and how this is, almost tore the family apart, and this mask has done nothing but hide who you really are, and I want to bring that back, that setting, that environment. And I'm guilty of shooting promos with the couch behind me and the outside wall or whatever. A lot of guys do that today, especially today. But man, if you had access to something that is just more of an aesthetic background, something that really pops the environment and the emotion, it's some of those subtleties just sell something like that, because that's a really big thing we just watched there. That's like years and years and years of stuff built up. So I would have liked to have just seen that in the ambience of what I was watching, if that makes any kind of sense.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you on that. I thought the delivery, I thought the message was great. I thought the music behind it, because that's another thing you'll agree with me on, I'm sure, is like when people are cutting promos, like especially on the independent scene, and it's just there's no music, there's nothing in the background, there's no background music at all, and it's just you talking. Sometimes you have to have that background music to tell the story. You have to have something there to fill it in, because the music will keep the audience awake. I don't mean awake, but we'll keep their attention there, and then the words that are coming out that match the music, I think bring something to it. What's your thoughts? You shouldn't just have a quiet background, right? Unless it calls for it.
I mean, again, there's like times where, but again, it's the investment. I've heard guys would tell me, oh man, I ain't got time for a promo or whatever, because of work or whatever. But yet I've seen like 25 Facebook posts in the last week. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I would go, when I lived in New Orleans, I would walk around the city and just look for different backdrops and just, something on the water. There was a big mural with Lucha Libres on it. I did a promo in front of that. One of the guys, I think it was actually Nick, very family orientated, church orientated, good Christian. I filmed one of the promos in front of a church, based off of that and things like that. So it's, it really does add something to that emotion. Anybody can just cut a promo in front of a wall or in front of their bedroom. But when, again, you're a product for yourself. So what are you selling? Are you selling I'm a star, or are you selling I'm just a guy who is cutting this promo because the promoter asked me? Right. Make sense?
Yep. Very well. Well, The thing is, and this is what I tell everybody. Like when you're booked at a promotion, especially a promotion that you've never been to, it's good to put that promo out there. It's good to, kind of engage with their fans, let them know who you are, and like just get it out there. And I love cutting promos. That was one of my favorite things to
Well,
do.
Brandon, think about the old WWF. When a new guy was coming to town, Outback Jack. How many weeks did we see a vignette for Outback Jack? Whether Outback Jack could wrestle or not didn't mean a fucking thing. You either liked him from the vignettes already, or you had an opinion about him.
Exactly.
So
I'll give you one for example. Waylon Mercy. Do you remember when they were doing the Waylon Mercy vignettes? And it built up to him coming in, which we got it years later with Bray Wyatt. I think Spivey was at the end. He was hurt. We didn't get as much out of it as we could. I thought they could have done a lot more because I was intrigued by Waylon Mercy. It was built off Cape Fear, which Robert De Niro was in the movie, and he came in with it, and it was perfect. The con man, the look, everything was downright. I thought great. Steven Dixon said Skinner. Steve Kern as Skinner.
Yep.
The promos of him being in the swamp, or being out there with the alligators hunting, that made it seem real. That made you feel it. You saw where he was at in his environment. It wasn't just like he walked to the ring. Oh, I'm Skinner the alligator hunter. You already seen the vignettes where he was out in the swamp doing stuff with alligators and stuff.
Even the Bushwhackers, man. If you watch WCW, NWA wrestling on the other stations, the sheep herders were two of the most violent, vicious guys in the ring. And then 3 months goes by, you don't see them, you forget about them, and all of a sudden these dudes are coming out of the bushes with Australian accents and popping up and down, and it's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Yeah. Well, the thing with the sheep herders was that's what a lot of people don't understand. Like they were out in, not Australia, Puerto Rico.
Yep.
Having hardcore matches and killing. Now you're seeing this fun-loving guys doing their thing, coming out, and it's so over. But they just didn't realize how.
And that's what they sold you. They told you what you wanted to see. You were going to like these guys, and they fed it to you before you even actually saw them. And then when you saw them, you were super excited to see them.
Yep, exactly. And that's just, it's funny, man. It's funny how, you can look at I'll give this as an example. Hogan. People only know Hogan from WWF. They don't realize what he did in Japan. Like, he didn't have to wrestle in the United States. He didn't have to wrestle in WWF. He did wrestle in Japan. But I do want to jump back to this with Steven Dixon, who said, who would you say are some of the best cutting promos of all time?
Of all time. I mean, obviously Flair can cut a promo. That's the obvious. Dusty Rhodes was a great promo guy. Macho Man obviously was a great promo guy. I thought, Heenan was a great talker. He could make you interested in anybody that he was managing. I thought he would cut a decent promo. Yeah, for sure. I mean, he was a wrestler for years. People don't remember that about him, but he was actually a very talented wrestler.
Pretty boy Bobby Heenan.
Jake Roberts was actually, one of the best of his time. His delivery, his cadence, his just overall, a guy his size and look, and to have that, to back it up. I think on the independent scene, from guys that I've seen, or MJF is a good talker. I think he's lazy, but he's a good talker when he wants to be. The promos that get you Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes cuts a decent promo. CM Punk cuts a good promo. You know, Phil has always been like really talented with everything he does. So it's like, um, the women, you know, Tiffany Stratton's getting good
Oh,
at her game. You see people develop. You see people like who weren't so good at what they were doing, and you see them kind of catch on. And it's kind of magic when you see that. Roman Reigns was another one who became, a master delivery, facial expressions, the pantomime sells the entire, you know, time out there. It was, you know, we've had some great like promo cutters in wrestling history. And I think there's a lot of guys out there that can do it today. Um, and I think more guys should really try to be more involved with, you know, really work on your promo, really kind of perfect it because it's so important for you. It's the difference that's going to separate you from the guy who can do the same moves you can do but can't talk. I mean, that's what it basically comes down to, right?
yeah.
There's a million guys who can do a Canadian destroyer into a super kick, into like, you know, a backflip to the outside, like, but can they cut a promo and get somebody invested in their product?
Exactly. Exactly. And that's the thing people don't understand. You brought it up when we came on. You're more impressed about popping the boys in the back than you are the crowd that paid money to come see you. And a lot of guys put more emphasis in what cool move I can do next than cutting a good promo that is investing people.
Froze up there.
Because at the end of the day, you're not just trying to catch the diehard wrestling fan because you're going to get them no matter what you put on. You're out there to catch the casual. You want that casual fan to come in, check it out. Oh man, this reminds me of when I did watch wrestling back in the 80s or the early 90s. And I just don't think people remember that. The old AWA. Yeah, Vern Gagne in the old AWA was really good too. I like Cena. I like the old school Cena promos. I did too. I like the Thugonomics promos, but Ben, you can probably vouch on this. Did you ever see that documentary? It was before he even got to WWE. I think it was on APW. I think it was done
For the prototype.
Yeah, when he was prototype. I could see it then
Yep.
in California that this dude was going to be a deal, and people can trash and shit on John Cena all they want, but that first night he was in WWF and he come down and took on Kurt Angle, you saw it right then and there. Even in the generic tights, everything looked like. I remember watching that live, and I'm sitting there going, "Okay, I'm impressed. You got to evolve," and then he evolves into Thugonomics, but I was impressed from the start when he went in there with Kurt Angle that night.
And again, it came down to cutting a quick promo. You already saw the look. You've already seen his body. You know the guy looks like $1 million, but he was confident, you know, and it changed the game for a lot of what was to come after that.
Yeah, because, I mean, he's the one that said ruthless aggression. And that's where a lot of people.
They built an era off of it.
Yep. That is where they remember. You know, Vince McMahon came out that Monday night and he says, "I want ruthless aggression." And then Tuesday night when they recorded SmackDown, John Cena comes out, and what's the first thing he says? Ruthless, or Kurt Cena says, "What are you doing out here?" Blah, 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 ruthless aggression. And then he attacks him. Cena don't win, but man, Kurt and him
Didn't need to.
No, he didn't need to. He looked like $1 million after that match. He looked like he could have went 60 minutes with Kurt Angle, and that's what you wanted.
It was something new and refreshing at the time, and it was something that the fans needed.
Yes, it was, and this is it. That era had some of the best promos. Yes, I would say, 97 kicked off like the edgy promos, kicked off a great era of promos. And they went till, I want to say, and correct me if your opinion is different on this, but I think they went to about 2005. And then after that, it was kind of like, it was, some of it was there, but it kind of dipped off, I thought.
Really, 2005 to maybe 2015 was just a very quiet kind of. I don't want to use the word generic, but we got a lot of the same shit over and over again for a while. Vince was holding on tight to the formula, of what he thought worked. And look, the formula always works. But again, as we talked about before, you have to start changing and adapting. And when the fans are telling you they're tired of something, you need to listen to the fans.
Agreed. All right, we got one more match. You want to check out one more match real quick? Now, this one's about...
I've got the time.
This is about, I think it's 19 minutes and 20 seconds long, so we'll check it out. Let me see if I can get... let me stop sharing on this one. We'll get it set up. Now, this is from somebody that you may know. I don't know, but you may know him, so we're going to find out here in just a second. Outlaw Adam Knight.
Yes, sir. Outlaw Adam Knight. I don't know him personally, but we have been friends on Facebook for like almost 15 plus something years. I've watched a lot of his stuff that he's put out there. Old school vet. Hell of a nice guy. Knows his shit really well.
Well, this is from back, I want to say 2010. I want to say it's Mason Mayhem, Lieutenant Mason Mayhem. Is that correct? But we're going to check this out and watch it. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. Stephen Dixon, once again, thank you for supporting the Brilliant Show and getting your shirt and hat. And we showed that before. All right. So let's get this on here. And before we get started with this, Ben, let me remove this real quick. Before we get started, we got some big news that's coming up. And me and you, after we get off this podcast, me and you'll talk about it. But we got some big news coming up, and I'm going to try to drop it sometime next week. But just remember this. If you're watching and want to get your match seen by Ben, get critiqued by Ben, who's been in the business 25 plus years. He's been a part of OVW. He's run his own company. He's got a plethora of ideas. And one of the guys I always talk to myself when it comes to stuff. Submit your match. We will review it. He will give you an honest critique. He's not going to sugarcoat anything. He's not going to tell you, oh, you did a great job when you really didn't. He will tell you. And we're going to do it right here next Thursday night. So submit your matches now at brilliantinc21@gmail.com. And you'll see it right here on The Brilliant Show with Ben Wood. And let me see. We got a comment here. Of course, brother, you're always welcome, Stephen Dixon. But we're going to get to this match now. And where is do you know where Adam Knight's out of? Outlaw Adam Knight's out of?
I want to say that he's in Canada.
Okay.
Or somewhere up in that region. I don't know if he was in the States at the time, but I think recently from stuff I saw from him, he was up north. Right, well, I could be completely wrong.
And this is an old video. Now, this is something that's kind of a treasure if you want to look at it, because he said this is from 2010. All right, so we're talking 15 years ago. Okay, 15 years ago, this happened. And you got footage of it. That's very rare to have footage from the independent scene back in 2010.
Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Winnipeg, Manitoba. Okay. All right, here we go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We'll make sure we don't get those copyrights, but I'm guessing this is Outlaw, right?
There he is. Yes, sir.
Now you said you've been friends with him on Facebook for 15 plus years, right?
Yes, sir.
It's amazing how we get lifelong friends from Facebook and never meet, but feel like we have that connection, right? You there, Ben? All right, there we go. You there? Can you hear me? I don't know if he can hear me right now. Yeah, I like the red canvas too. Ben, can you hear me, man? Or you froze up there for a second, maybe. All right, let's see if we can. We're getting ready to watch Outlaw Adam Knight here. All right, Ben, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. So I was saying I didn't get a response. I'm guessing that's when you froze up. I was saying that it's funny that we can have friends for 15 plus years on Facebook and never meet and still feel like we know them like family. So what do you think of the red canvas here? It looks like you froze again. You all right, Ben?
Yeah, I'm having a hard time with this.
All right, you good. Now you're moving. All right. What do you think of the red canvas there?
I like the red canvas. Reminds me of World Class Championship Wrestling.
You know what a lot of people don't understand too is that Canadian wrestling and like British wrestling, there's a whole different style to their wrestling compared to the American style as well.
Very much so. It's a nice venue.
Yeah, very. That's what I was going to say. Very good venue. I like the setup. And the quality of this video to be 2010 is not bad. Look at the ref. That's another key factor people don't understand. The ref, he was on spot there. A ref can
Yes,
make a
sir.
match quicker than anybody.
And it's okay for the ref to interact in a match. Just because you're roughing a match doesn't mean you just stand there to count to three or wave a finger. Like, get involved. If a guy's not following your orders, pull him off. Get him out of that corner. You have the right and the authority to do that. So don't ever be afraid to show that you're the man with authority in the match.
Well, this ref looks very confident in his situation. I want to say that it kind of oozes off of him. Look how he is very attentive.
He's in the right place at the right time. Yep. And these guys are just classic chain wrestling, getting the match started. There's a big hip toss.
And look, most people couldn't even have done a hip toss that good. And he really carried that hip toss himself on that good suplex, too.
You know, it's weird with those red masks because I'm seeing it with this, and I don't know what it is, but it like almost seems like they're more plushy than the other ones.
Yeah.
Almost like, you know. Hear how vocal the ref is? Calling out the.
Yeah. Yeah, the ref in the first match didn't seem involved, but also that match was, well paced too. But this ref is really asserting his authority.
Adam's going to take his time on the outside. Jaw jack with some fans. And that's, again, setting the pace, bringing the pace down to your style, changing the pace of the match. The baby face is shining. The beginning, now, sir. We're going to slow things down.
Oh, the test of strength.
Back up to the corner. There's the ref again.
Now look at those elbows. Those look pretty solid. Ooh.
You can hear it.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a little bit more energy out of this guy. If we're doing the USA thing here and the fans are yelling hoorah and things like that, he needs to give that back to them.
Yeah, exactly. Work that crowd. Because, that's what a lot of people forget nowadays is to work that crowd the way they do.
Adam getting comfortable in his routine now. He's in control. Fans are chanting for the babyface. This is where you got to have him. Reaching for him, crawling towards him,
Yep.
Fighting back, making that moment of separation and then, acknowledging them and then getting yourself cut back down. He's a methodical worker, Adam. And it doesn't have to be 1,000 punches or 1,000 stomps in the kick. Let something register.
Yeah.
Referee's pushing him back. He's giving the guy a chance to breathe over there. Right off of that breath, as soon as Adam comes back, I'm throwing stomach shots. Keep yourself alive. Give him something to cheer about.
But look at how they're working. He's working the crowd with that. You remember when they used to do that back in the 80s?
Yes.
And listen to the kids, man. They're going wild over here.
And how do you not jump off that energy, man? When those kids are going, bro, they are going to get every single person in that building going with them. They are the catalyst for your hooray, hurrah, or your boo. And more guys need to recognize that the kids will do anything and react to anything you feed.
Yep. Oh, wow.
Nice block.
Woo!
Beautiful. I do not like taking that move, dude. Antonio calls a thing like that, except he just takes me over onto my shoulder. And I was like, thank God I put my hand up. We've had some fun with that. I always give him shit on it. But yeah, no, I am not a fan of taking that projectile over someone's head.
Yeah, I wouldn't either, but man, that one was beautiful.
Look at the old school right here. You don't see this much anymore. Stretching the body part. He's got the leg over. He's sitting on his back, putting pressure on the joint. Like, referee is right there in his face watching it. I mean,
that is one of the key factors, and we'll talk about this after the match because you're seeing a lot of old school, like, stuff that works. that makes sense here. And we're going to talk about this after we get off.
And like I said, the babyface here, he needs to get that energy back. He had his energy and he lost his energy because he gave it away. You know? And there's not much in a situation like this that Adam can do to get it back for him.
No, he has to do it himself. He has to have that energy, and he's just not. Just like you said, he's not doing it. And these are moments where the kids are eating out of your hand. You can debate.
And we don't know the reason. You know, he could be blown up. He could be just young and new at this and just hasn't had a lot of experience under his belt. Or it's just not his night. He's not feeling it. I don't want to shit on the guy. I'm just saying from my perspective, like, so far it's a pretty one-sided battle.
It really is, and it's not that the match has been bad. It's
Not at all.
There's so many things that you can point out that could have been done in this match. And it could have been an off night for this guy. You're right.
Like just something small there you could have done. You know you're waiting for the move, whatever, but roll over for a minute. You know, grab your face, grab your arm, and then roll yourself back into position in that last moment just to, you know, give it that little extra something just with your arms down to your side lying there waiting for it. I'm not a fan of that, to be honest. Selling's the most important thing in a match. And I'll repeat that. Selling is the most important thing in a match.
Well, Ricky Morton made girls cry on the front row because he sold so well. You know what I mean?
I've seen it in Tennessee. I was working a show for USA for Burt Prentice back in the day. We had an angle set up. I pushed Burt on the ground. All of a sudden, the fans are coming at me with steel chairs. I'm thinking it's a work. The boys are like, you need to get the fuck out of here right now, bro. They're going to hurt you.
How was Burt?
Burt was amazing, man. Burt would give you the shirt off his back, literally, dude. If he saw something in you and he thought you could do something, he would give you the opportunity, and I always appreciated that from him.
I never met him. I talked to Burt several times, on Facebook. He was on the original podcast. Seemed like a stand-up guy, a great guy. And
a wealth of knowledge in the industry, man.
He invited me up there. This was a couple of years before he passed. He'd invited me up there to a show. I was never able to make it, but he was always a nice guy to me. And like I said, I never got to meet him, but we talked over Facebook. He'd come on the podcast. He was just a nice guy.
He's done everything you could do in the business, Burt.
Yeah.
That was one of those things, too, on the bucket list. Like, when you're in independent wrestling, especially around that Tennessee, Midwest area, you wanted to work for Burt Prentice. You wanted to work for Bill Behrens. You wanted to be on those shows, NWA. Those were big things going on back in the late 2000s, around this time, actually. 2007, 8, 9, 10.
Man, Burt always had that good old feel Memphis setup, too. The way he ran everything. It had that Memphis feel, but it also had that old NWA feel, too. And they did it like in the studio kind of deal. He set it up great. I always enjoyed watching their shows and stuff.
There was a small time there that Dutch was running NWA down there, and we would go, and do studio matches and stuff, and then we'd go cut promos in front of Dutch. And that whole area of Tennessee for a while, so rich in wrestling. I worked for Saw, for Rena Riggins. Jerry Jarrett was involved for a while. So much talent, so many guys with knowledge, and such a, that was a thriving time in independent wrestling. Was from 2008, 2012.
Oh, yeah, that's a good spine buster right there. How was Dutch? Being around.
Made me nervous as hell, but he was a very nice guy, man. Just like you see on his podcast, that's just who he is. Very easy. If he sees something he likes, he's going to let you know. If he doesn't like it, he's also going to let you know.
Hey, Mike. Mike's from up in Illinois, but he's come down here to like Ocean Springs down that way, and he attended a couple of the AWA shows when I was on. So, hey, Mike, they do a thing called Wrestle for Cancer up in Illinois.
Yep, heard of that.
He was a part of that as well, and one of my former clients was it was Wrestle for a Cure. Wrestle for a Cure. He was the champion. Mac Daddy Does was the champion for a long time up there.
It's a nice superplex.
Yes, it was. You know,
I would have went for the cover right there, no matter what the stock coming is. But again, you're trying to win the match. Big move, just time and space, man. Time and space is everything.
Yep. But you know, you're seeing a lot more cleaner, like easy moves right here than you are in today's era, in my opinion.
Well, guys back then could get away with that.
Yeah.
You know, the business has changed a little bit as far as pace and as far as what's acceptable and not acceptable. But this is an old school fan base that's probably showing up to this building every time they run a show in the same capacity. And so you can tell that they know who the wrestlers are. Just something like that small little thing, just how he walked over there. There was no real urgency with it. You know, it kind of pulled his pants up and walked on over. Like, just, again, like, I'm not saying you don't have to pull your pants up during a match or whatever, but, like, come to that corner like you're going to do something to make it look like you had a plan in mind at least.
Oh, my God.
Very beautifully executed.
That was a pretty pile driver right there. All right.
And I'm glad he didn't kick out. So I thought that was just, you know, Adam did a phenomenal job. Obviously, he led the match. Was you know, in control the entire time. Good. This is one of those case and scenarios of just not taking advantage of your time out there. You know, the babyface could have really had that crowd fired up, biting on every move, fired up on every punch that he threw. He got dominated the whole match, but never gave them enough to really want to see him pull it off.
Right. He could have been behind. I'm going to just tell you this, though. The MVP of this match outside Adam was the ref.
Ref did a phenomenal job. Again, right place, the right time, interacting when you needed to, vocal. The fans understand the count. The fans understand the interactions. Was positioned properly. Whenever a guy's on the ground, you want to be looking at the guy that's in the hold. You also want to be checking the other guy, making sure he's not doing something illegal with the hold. And I thought the ref did a good job on that one. Adam did. And this happens. I have been in a ring sometimes where the guy shits the bed a little, and it's like people will say, well, then it's your responsibility to pull him through. And it is. It's your responsibility. But you also can lead the horse to water. You surely can't force him to drink. But what you can do is try to encourage them to continue to keep themselves going because, again, the heel's persona is only as big as the job that the baby face is selling to get him over as the heel. And I felt Adam did everything he could as a heel to get the baby face over. It just didn't seem like, again, with the Army gimmick and the whole thing, there's just so much more you could have gotten out of that. There could have been USA chants throughout the match. There could have been just different vibrations going on that would have made it more exciting. But sometimes you just gotta kind of do what you gotta do, and you just gotta get through it. And if you gotta beat the guy up, you gotta beat him up.
Oh, exactly. And I looked at it. Outlaw Adam Knight, as we both know, the heel is the one that usually dictates the match in this situation, and you could very well tell that. And I thought that he really it was an old school match. a fun old school match where you didn't have to take too many risks. The crowd was up. It was just the point where you're right, the baby face just was kind of flat. And he could have been higher up.
And again, I'm not trying to shit on brother. I just want to be honest about what I'm watching from, again, like you said earlier, if I'm turning on the station, my attention span is maybe 30 seconds to a minute and a half, and I'm just watching this guy getting beat up the whole time. I'm not that interested. You kind of know what the outcome is.
Yep. Yeah, you're exactly right on it. We watched 2 matches tonight.
Thank you guys very much for sending those in, and I hope you more people send and participate with this.
Yes, and if you want to, because we're going to try to do this every Thursday night. Found out tonight that I will not be out of town next Thursday, so that we will have another one if Ben's up to it. And if you want to, submit matches at brilliantinc21@gmail.com, or you can send them through, just send the link through our DMs. If you know Ben, you want to send it to him, send the link to him, send the link to me. It doesn't matter. We'll either way, we'll get it and we'll put it on here and review your match. We're gonna do this next Thursday as well. I got some guests coming up that's gonna be interesting. We got Monday. We got Josh Newell from BIW coming in. Gonna talk BIW.
One of the best promoters in Louisiana.
I agree. I've worked with Josh, and I picked Josh's brain. He's been around for 18 years doing BIW. He's kind of got started with Dr. Death Steve Williams, who helped lead him in the right direction. John Saxon's helped him throughout the time. Steve Anthony's been there. There's just a lot of stuff. Bordell. And
all top-notch talents as well.
Yes, very much so. And he gets a lot of talent pull out of Texas. So and they build their name here through BIW. So that's another good one. Tuesday, I want to say we got All Prodigy, no apology, Hunter Hendricks coming in. He'll check.
Nice.
And then we got Quasi coming in on Wednesday. Melandro, I think that's correct. And then Thursday we'll be right back here, me and you. Hopefully y'all can submit matches and we can have some fun with it. Oh, Sunday night got Coastal Wrestling Alliance owners, which just formed this past week. We're going to get them in here. We're going to talk to them because, like I said, don't ever like I said, anybody's welcome on the show. I got an enemy coming up, a very big enemy. He actually reached out to me today and wanted to come on. So,
sounds juicy.
Yeah, it's going to get real juicy because this one is juicy. I had a guy on last night that me and him didn't disagree. I mean, didn't agree on a lot of things.
I noticed.
Yeah, but we come on here and we hashed that out. I don't know how this one's going to hash out, but I got Matty Ice, who has been talking trash and stuff for a while.
I don't have any issues with Matty Ice. I worked the show with him for Slam Wrestling. I thought he was a good kid. I tried to book him for one of my shows. Apparently something happened. He couldn't make it. Shit happens. Whatever. I think the kid's got some talent. I think he's got a good attitude for the most part. I don't know him personally, but pick and choose your battles in this business.
Well, I'll just say this about Matty, and we'll kind of get into this, and I'm not going to go on the trash hole here with it, but I'll just say this. When I first met Matty, Brandon, you definitely have got to get Jacob Walker a Jacob Walker match. We'll tell Jacob to send us a match. We'll watch it. I've seen
sure will.
Stuff. Here's the thing. We want to show matches on here, and I'll get to the Matty Ice thing in a second, but we want to show matches on here. But I want the actual talent to tell us, hey, I want you to review our match. I don't want to just show their match without them knowing we're showing their match. I want them to come on here and let us know But with Matty Ice, when I first met him, and talked to him, and he cut a 5-minute promo. This is where I got the promo deal and told him, like, do 1 minute, 2 minute tops. But he had a 5-minute promo. And I'm not, like I said, I tried to help him, talk to him a little bit. And then some stuff happened, which we'll get into on June 23rd when he comes on the show. So, but I'm just saying, I did try to help the kid, and I think what happened, and I'm not trying to piss anybody off. So, Matt, if you're watching this, I'm not trying to piss you off at this point. But I think his ego got just a little too big, and you can agree with this. You have to have an ego to be in the wrestling business, but you have to
Yes,
learn.
sir.
You have to learn how to keep that ego in check as well. We all lose that ego. I mean, we all get lost, but you got to keep in check. But second, we'll have him on, and then we'll be doing this on Thursday nights. But I want you to submit your matches. We want you to watch, and Ben will give critiques because Ben has done extra work with OVW. I mean, OVW, WWE. He's worked with OVW, and he's been around 25 plus years. And I've been in the locker rooms with Ben. Me and Ben have talked, and I've always listened when Ben talks. He's got a plethora of knowledge, like I said. And yeah, and you talk about Antonio Bronson. You bring him up.
I love the kid.
He's great, man. He really is. He's got a great look.
Like, I generally love the man as a person, as a talent, as just a human being. Like, I don't know why more people don't book him. He's a local guy. He'll show up and he'll put on a good show.
And another thing about it is like when you look at Antonio, you're like, oh yeah, this is a dude that I do not want to meet in a dark alley. And then you talk to him and you're like, God, I love him. He's a great guy.
No, and he's a good, safe worker. Like, he's gonna, he looks the part, but he's not gonna bash your brains in unless you piss him off.
Yeah. But the thing is like, I met Antonio back. I think it was back when you and Steve started kind of working some stuff together. It was probably 2019 or so.
Steve and I never worked anything together. That's a whole nother story in a different podcast, brother.
Okay. But I remember, meeting Antonio and him coming in and just nice guy. And I've kept in touch with him over the years. We don't talk all the time. We talk every now and then, but I'd love to get him on here. And if you're watching Antonio, you're always welcome to come on. We'd love to have you on here.
Oh, he's probably not watching. He'll tell me about it later, though.
But yeah, man. I mean, it's like your experiences down here in the South compared to the Midwest. Tell me the difference, because we both know the differences in independent wrestling, but kind of give the listeners your visual on the difference, because down here's more old school. Up there, you got more of a variety kind of style. I
think Kentucky in general, Tennessee is definitely a good mix of adaptation of the two styles, but like, the fans are very similar in the Midwest territory and the Southern territory. They are built off of old school wrestling, Louisville Gardens, the Pathos, Macho Man, Lanny, his father, running shows down in Georgetown and other places. The other small promotions, Heartland, up in Cincinnati, Ohio, Les Thatcher. Area has been saturated with old school talent, and I think they're very similar. The difference in Kentucky probably is there's a lot more promotions probably in the Midwest than there are in the Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama area. So different fans of different varieties have a little bit different flavor choose from. And so I think that makes it kind of unique because there's old school, there's new school, there's in between, there's still hardcore. IWA was a huge thing here for many, many years. Ian Rotten, I actually worked for him once. Yeah, man, it's good places to work, dude. The fans here will, if you give it to them, they'll give it to you back. And the same thing in Mississippi and in Chalmette and some of the other places I've been to.
Well, I'm gonna just say this, like, let me bring this up. Ian Rotten, been around him, IWA Mid South stuff. What was that like? Because I remember seeing, what was it, CM Punk and Chris Hero have a match.
Chris Hero was around a lot. CM Punk was around a lot. They would bring guys from Japan. A lot of the other old school talents were around. Claudio was around the same circuit. A guy by the name of Mitch Ryder was running a show, XIW, in Indiana for a while. And that was just flooded with Hero and Punk and Chris Michaels and fucking just all the guys that have been something around the area. Bull Payne, who I worked like an awesome thing with, Flash Flanagan, all the old school stars. That's one thing about this area, the Midwest, is that there is a plethora of old school talent available to you at all times. And if you can't learn something, there's something wrong with you.
Exactly. We was talking about Chris Hero and them. I just thought about this. This just popped in my brain because I got ADHD, so it just happens like that sometimes. But there was a guy back in the early 2000s that I thought was just going to be something special. He was in TNA and kind of had the same name as a famous wrestler, Shawn Michaels, but Michael Shane. You remember him?
I do.
He just kind of disappeared. It looked like he was going to have a future, and then a few years into TNA, it just disappeared. Do you know anything like into that, or was you a fan of him?
Nah, I didn't know him personally. I've just probably seen him around a few shows. A lot of those guys circulated that area. Michaels, Sean Casey, Sean Schultz was another big name in the Tennessee area, early TNA stuff. What's his name? Chase Stevens, big time name on the independent. Chase Stevens at one point on the independent scene was probably the equivalent of what Will Ospreay was to people. He was the most over guy you could imagine wrestling at the time. And it's shocking he didn't have more opportunities than he did. But
yeah, that's agree. Well, dude, I think this first episode of us doing the match review went well.
Yes, sir.
I think it was good. Thank you for coming on. I thank you for being a part of this. We'll try to be back next Thursday. We'll have a couple matches. Like I said, if you want to be a part of this, if you want your match critiqued, if you want it reviewed, you want it watched, submit it at brilliantink21@gmail.com. Ben here, 25 plus years experience. He's going to look at it. He's not going to sugarcoat it. He's going to tell you exactly what it is, but he's not meaning it in a derogatory way. He's trying to mean it in a way to improve. And thank you for joining us, Ben. We will see you. We got one more question. Did you do any wrestling in Memphis?
I have actually never wrestled a single match in Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh, wow, that's wild. But thank you, Ben. Next week, right here, we'll do a match review. Thank you again, though, man, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, brother. Peace out.
Lights blaze bright, it's a glorious sight. The champ of the mic owns the night. With a mind so slick and a suit so clean, he's running this this ring like a wrestling machine. From gold-plated deals to jaw-dropping schemes, he's the mastermind of your wildest dreams. Stand up, take note, bow down if you can. It's the Brilliant Show with the Brilliant One.